So I came across this article on Deadline and I thought it was very interesting for a multitude of reasons. One, this is exactly what Hollyweird gets because for years, and I've been saying this for a long time, there have been a lot of projects that a lot of black filmmakers have been wanting to put out, like telling their stories and whatnot, but it always gets shunned. And I've always said to myself, I wonder how many stories do not make it to the big screen. How much has been left on what is called the cutting room floor or put on the shelf and collecting dust. I've always wanted to know that. And I bet you there were some very powerful and potent films opposed to some of the stuff that they released today. But Deadline just put out this article where it says a new study finds undervaluing of black-led projects costs Hollywood or Hollyweird $10 billion annually. Now, that says annually. That means that this is something that has been going on for more than a year. So Hollyweird literally loses billions of dollars because they don't want to tell certain stories that black people put out there, which lets me know that a lot of the stories that they don't want to put out there are probably non-agenda based, meaning films we would probably actually want to see. But when they keep trying to lead and force feed these agenda-based projects, and I'm not saying all of them are, but sometimes some of them slip a little something in there. They don't completely hit you in the face with it. Then what did they expect? But now, not only are they losing money from Hollywood, but you're finding a lot of people are setting up shop to do films and movies in Atlanta. Now, Atlanta, Georgia has become like the new haven for filmmaking, especially if you are a black filmmaker, mainly thanks to Tyler Perry. Like I said, I have my issues with Tyler Perry on a lot of things, but he did open up a window of opportunity for a lot of black filmmakers and black actors to get work. So I can't even knock him for that. And he's opened up a completely new market down in Atlanta where I think it's more cost effective. I don't know what it is like now. Maybe the stock has gone up since he's been down there. But Hollyweird, to me, sounds like they're going broke, and it's mainly due to their stubbornness. And this actually can be linked back to how stubborn they are when it comes to reparations, intangibles for black people. When trillions of dollars goes into our hands and in resources, that will help fuel the economy. But because they know it'll give us a leg up and put us in competition and probably surpass the dominant society, they will not allow themselves to do that. So I'm linking it in the same narrative as it is with this. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is read this article coming from Deadline and see what else they're talking about and how they broke down this study. When it comes to diversity, inclusion, and representation, Hollywood is far from where it needs to be, but we are seeing progress. However, there are many blind spots that have been overlooked and cracks in the foundation that are growing bigger and bigger each day. If it doesn't fix them, the industry will have more problems than it can repair. One of them being the undervaluing of black-led projects. McKinsey and Company released a study about the film and TV industry that is both not that surprising, but very eye-opening when it comes to the work that needs to be done to achieve equality in front of and behind the camera. The research is the first integrated view of the data and reveals that many barriers that black talent encounters across the film and TV production ecosystem. It also shines a light on the economic impact of those inequities and offers solutions to bolster inclusivity. To be honest, they don't need to go for any more inclusion. Maybe black creators should set up shop elsewhere. That's what they tried to do with Tyler Perry, which is why he set up shop in Atlanta. More and more people need to do that. This shows right here that them losing $10 billion annually just shows right there we have the power right in our hands. We can create whatever we want without them and boost our own revenue and create our own little Hollywoods wherever we want. We don't need them. And this right here proves that. They need us more than we need them. The company analyzed data on more than 2,000 films and interviewed dozens of industry professionals, including writers, directors, producers, agents, actors, and executives, and collaborated with the Black Light Collective, a coalition of black executives and talent in the industry, including Franklin Leonard of the Blacklist. The research found that media and entertainment make up a bedrock industry with revenues of nearly $150 billion each year. That said, Hollywood has the potential to gain an additional $10 billion in annual revenues, which amounts to nearly 7% more than its baseline, by addressing the racial inequities. Specifically, McKinsey found that black-led projects have been consistently underfunded and undervalued, even though there have been evidence that it is clear as day that they outperform other properties when it comes to a return on their investment. This aligns with a report from the UCLA-based Center for Scholars and Storytellers titled Beyond Checking a Box, a Lack of Authentically Inclusive Representation Has Cost at the Box Office, that was released in October 2020. In addition, the term representation matters continues to ring true on screen and behind the scenes. Black talent is underrepresented across the industry, particularly in off-screen roles such as producer, director, and writer. The one caveat here is that it is significant representation in these roles if at least one senior member of the production is black. Other than that, black talent behind the camera has not improved over the past 15 years. Basically, they have to meet their one nigga quota. See, a lot of the times when they do this whole diversity and inclusivity thing, it's quota based, not merit based. Looking at the positions of creative control, the research shows that less than 6% of Hollywood films, writers, directors, and producers are black. When it comes to the talent in front of the camera, the study found that up-and-coming black actors receive significantly fewer chances to make their mark in leading roles than white actors. In their first 10 years of work, emerging black actors get an average of 6 leading roles, while their white counterparts get 9. McKinsey also unpacks the concept of the black tax, a fee that black professionals in film and TV often need to pay. This tax can be considered literal or a metaphor, where black professionals have to fight or pay out of pocket for what others can take for granted, or needing to advocate for greater racial equity on their own. This is an unfair burden that falls in the lap of black talent or creatives that could otherwise be honing their craft and focusing on their own careers. I've heard of that black tax before, and that's something that doesn't get talked about often or at all. At the top of the Hollywood food chain, there is a severe underrepresentation of black people in decision-making and leadership roles. Black professionals hold few executive C-suite roles throughout the industry. For context, the study found that 87% of TV executives and 92% of film executives are white. The film industry in particular remains disproportionately white, ranking last among industries and behind sectors such as energy and finance. To add to that, the agents and executive staff at the industry top 3 talent agencies were about 90% white, and the partners of these agencies were 97% white. So basically, like it's basically telling us what we already knew. Hollywood is overwhelmingly palm colored in every facet of its structure. Has been, and most likely always will be. In order to drive change, break down the hidden barriers that reinforce the racial status quo in the problematic Hollywood ecosystem, McKinsey offered 4 steps that streaming companies, studios, agencies, and other industry players can take to advance racial equity in entertainment and beyond. For one, companies need to ensure diverse representation, especially among off-screen talent and executives. Secondly, there needs to be an increase in transparency and accountability. Third, these companies need to seek and financially support a wide range of black stories. And finally, these institutions must collaborate and create an independent advocacy organization to coordinate action across the ecosystem. Let me just say this, and I said it already, and I'll say it again. We don't need them. This right here shows without the shadow of a doubt that they need us, not the other way around. To be honest, even outside of the entertainment industry, with this, they still need us. Financially, they crumble without our dollar. And as you can see, Hollywood is crumbling without our talent. Like I said, we are the trendsetters of the world. Everything that we do or we make trendy or make cool, people piggyback off of. Unfortunately, they piggyback so much that they claim it as their own, and we don't get nothing in return, not even so much as a thank you. Now, the center image, of course, is Chadwick Boseman being Black Panther. Had one of the most profitable films ever made, whether it's a comic book film, an MCU film, just movies in general. It's one of the most profitable films, and I think it's literally number 10 as far as the top 10 highest grossing movies of all time, if I'm not mistaken. That movie right there shows that you can have a majority black cast with a black lead where the film does not show us in a stereotype. Then of course, you know, you have films like Get Out that was successful. I guess you can throw Judas and the Black Messiah in there. I actually did enjoy that movie, despite not liking the Lakeith Stanfield character because for obvious reasons, and a host of other films that are black led that are successful. Because it was at one time when it was a stereotype that black people don't go see these movies or black films can't make money. That was to discourage people from making films and to keep people from not seeing those movies. Remember what happened with Birth of a Nation with Nate Parker, what they did with that, the sabotage, the utter sabotage they did with that film. But this is what Hollyweird gets. But this is what palm-colored infrastructure as a whole, regardless, gets. Because like I said, this goes beyond Hollyweird. This is just how the structure of the fabric of America is stitched. They shut us out of so many institutions for so long, thinking that they would be able to thrive without us, even while we're still here, not realizing that our dollars is what's keeping them afloat. Now imagine if we pulled all our resources from whatever we have left out of their system, what would they have? Imagine the fall of America, like literally the actual fall and crumbling of America right before your very eyes. They would have another reason to hate our guts, but it would be all their fault. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here and talk about this. But at the end of the day, black people, if you are a creator, like filmmaking, everything like that, just do your stuff independent. Someone out there is going to notice and realize your talents. And you don't need Hollyweird in all of its palm-coloredness to tell you what's good and what isn't. Because let's be real here. A lot of stuff they put out is a bunch of crap. But because they're PC, it'll be praised and it'll get all kinds of acclaims and all types of Golden Globes and Oscars and SAG Awards and Emmys and all of that stuff. When much of that stuff isn't even deserved, but because they have the right people in the right position, you know, they can get what they want. Well, y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure that you text the number that is pinned down in the comments below so you can receive notifications every time I upload a new video or go live.